And where does this take place? One of the questions, and the answer is wherever possible. Then we come to the question of how do we attract these people, what is the mode to be adopted? And the clear answer is activities that are attractive for young hearts. How are we going to get young people? By finding activities that are attractive for people with young hearts. I mean, that's a pretty obvious kind of statement. In other words, appropriate events. In order to function, the committee or the subcommittee felt that there should be, central office should provide financing for these various youth projects. And Ken Lardy said she needed money for at least 2 events. Then we spent a lot of time talking about the sort of IDC, where we understand from Ken over 80 South African students. We recognize this is a rather unique situation because the courses there are in English, but we feel strongly this is a pilot group that we should try to develop and expand and extract the maximum from it. Thought was then given to how to do that, by the way. Point was made by getting them involved in Facebook and signing them up on it and making them aware of it. There was also a suggestion that we should consider organizing young professional organizations, getting people of the same ilk and interest together. Then we spoke about how managed, that was one of the questions, and we felt that there was need for clear and positive cooperation between volunteers and the office. So could there be one office volunteer, or could first be a volunteer?
A young volunteer.
Young volunteer, or does it have to be someone who's professionally involved in the office? And if so, would this be able to help volunteers all over the country if they're 23 or even 10 or 15? Is a question mark. How would that work in practice? Who in the office would be the liaison with voluntary organizations, with our young people? The point was then made that the groups that come in should also be taught to be self-efficient, self-reliant. Not always to relate or rely on people in the office or somebody else, but find amongst themselves the machinery to exist. The last question was sustainability, and this was very simple for us because if we're getting young people involved, it's like a snowball effect. It's not only 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. We're getting this group now to grow because it's expanding successful into the second year, and it'll grow, it'll snowball. So that's how sustainability shouldn't be a problem for this.
Wow.
Good presentation, Mr.
Well done. Excellent. Can we have your service? Right, group 1. Correct. Okay.
The $200 an hour for
Group 2, here we go. Group 2 was about the community programs.
Yeah.
Okay, shoot.
Okay, what do we hope to achieve? Basically, we identified 3 goals. The one was identifying and defining projects of benefit to both the South African and Israeli community. Okay, goal 2 was engaging the South African community, which will then inspire involvement in the larger community.
Okay.
And goal 3 would be, as a result of activities, to be known in the community, that Telford would be known in the community, which would improve Telford's image.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, who will be involved and affected? The regional committees, together with volunteers in the community, in the area where a need has been defined. Where will they take place? Private houses, moadon halls, basically wherever it's relevant. What will be done? Whatever need is identified, whether it's teaching English, raising for clothing, helping with welfare families, any local projects that need to be identified, or that are identified, should I say. How will relevant activities be managed? By a coordination between the volunteer, which apparently Telford is going to be employing, a volunteer or coordinator of volunteers, together with the regional committee and inner volunteers. Okay, how will central office and regions work together? Well, I partly answered that in the question before. We also discussed about doing joint events, joint activities of needs between regions close by.
Between regions?
Between different regions,
different
like neighbouring regions. Okay, and the basis for sustainability, the idea is to become self-funding, but there would be an element of assistance from the office as well. An idea came up as well of any funds that were raised as a result of certain things, whether then the funds remain within that region to be used for future activities, or whether the funds go back to the main office. That has to be predetermined. I think we've covered everything.
Okay. Anything else to say there? Well, okay.
This one.
Good.
That's why I said it.
Right, group 3.
Okay. We're dealing with improving Telford's image. Now, what we have to achieve is to educating, in the first instance, the Southern African community in Israel, and thereafter Israeli society at large, on the heritage of South African Jewry, the history and achievements of Telford, current events and future events, all projecting the fact that Telford is the premier organization of the Southern African community. Who will be involved and affected? Ideally, there should be a PR professional orchestrating this process, together with a committee. Together with a committee, preferably people, successful businessmen, marketing people, who know how to reach out to the community and utilize their expertise and knowledge that they have obtained in the commercial world. We will also be involved. We suggest that we incorporate commercial companies who are concerned with social activism and have them adopt us as one of their projects. In particular, it was felt that high-tech companies, and there are companies where there are South Africans involved already, so we could have an entree to them. Super Farm was cited as one of the possibilities.
He's Canadian.
They're Canadian.
Yeah, Canadians, but they're Canadian too. There's no Canadian organisation per se that's active in this country. So
Well, the ACI or something.
ACI is not Canadian.
Organisation, what do you want? They got a social organisation.
Okay, where will the relevant activities take place? Well, all over Israel, but in the main in the main is the media, TV, printed media, the internet, web, Facebook, etc. What was stressed is that this must not only be confined to the English media, but the Hebrew media also, which obviously would require that our central person must be totally bilingual. How would it be managed? ideally, once again, as I said, there'll be a PR firm, a professional firm. Ideally, once again, pro bono, if we could find someone. If not, utilize the services of South Africans through our volunteer management, finding Southern Africans who are in this field, who can at least advise us and lead us in this field. But if not, we'd have to find the budget to engage the services of such a firm to help us plan the strategic process. How will the central office and regions work? It's very important that the regions feed their news and information to the central person at headquarters. And the question of sustainability over time, as I mentioned before, is the whole question of possible sponsorships, fundraising. Roy suggested a kind of what do we call it? Not conglomerate. What's the word? Where people, we get people to. I think you sort of have an idea to one stage. People contribute towards a pool, money, not big money, and buy Mifalapai tickets. And have an agreement between us. Yes, you had something similar. You did, the two people or something. Anyway.
I love it.
Okay. Okay, that's basically it.
Okay, so